You know what a donkey is? Donkey, right? What's a Bengali word for donkey?
Gadha. Gadha.
I'll make a donkey of myself if I try and say that. So the farmer looks at this donkey and he thinks, you know, this is a prize donkey. I value him, let me try and get him out. Calls the neighbors, they try ropes, every possible thing, they cannot get the donkey out. Eventually they say, look, this donkey was stupid enough to fall in the hole. It was very bad judgment of the donkey. I can't watch him die and it's going to smell bad after a while, so let's bury him. Cover him in dirt. So all the neighbors start covering the donkey with dirt. You know, filling up the hole. After a few hours, the donkey steps out of the hole and walks away. Why? How? Every time they poured a shovel of sand on his back or dirt on his back, he would shake it off. He wouldn't let it pile on. Shake off. And as he shakes it off, he would take a step up. After a few 100,000 shovels of sand, the hole filled up and he walked out. He did not allow the dirt to get him down. Like ships, boats. Ships don't sink because of the water around them. They sink when the water gets inside. So as a leader, when you make a mistake, and there are lots of people angry with you, and people will be, take it, acknowledge it, apologize, take corrective action, but do not let that get inside. Okay? Another lesson from the donkey, by the time he got to the top, he walked away. Those who try to bury him, he walks away from them. He has no loyalty to them left. They did not show him loyalty when he needed it. Trust is broken. What are we doing on time? Number 7, the last thing on the list is you have to invest in learning some science of leadership. Not to learn, I mean, like any other topic, if you study it, you practice it, you master it, you'll get better at it. Now, some of the things that you're going to need to learn as a leader, some practical things, is read some inspirational books to understand the difference between the different power bases of leaders. You have a power base of position, title, and you have a personal power base. Positional power is easy. Any monkey can do it. You get the title, you get the authority, you have the right to make people's lives miserable or make their lives better. By a decision you make, you can impact things. That's positional power, purely because they don't have a choice. You are going to affect their lives, they will do what you say. You do it because I tell you. Personal power is where you have enough of a vision or a dream that have inspired and created people to follow you and believe you because they believe in your vision. Dr. Martin Luther King, I have a dream. Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, Mother Teresa. You can find them all across history. These are people who did not get to power because of power. They brought a dream, they brought a vision. So those are 2 power bases in your life you'll have to learn. Read books, study. Autocratic leaders, Stalin, Hitler. Those guys who did not consider anything unless their own word and their own decisions. You're going to have to learn interpersonal skills. Take classes, take courses, interpersonal skills. You're going to have to learn about building relationships. I gave you a description today, but building relationships in human society is very difficult. Cross-cultural, cross-gender, cross-religion, it's not that easy. You're going to have to study on the subject and learn how to do that. Communication skills. Like Ron said, when he started out, he was too scared to talk in front of a group of people at a debate competition. You have to learn how to communicate. If you cannot communicate, you cannot ascend to leadership. Then, from a more scientific perspective, there's a model that I have found many years ago. Studied it, I've practiced it, I believe I've mastered it. And you can note this down, you can Google it. It's called situational leadership. Situational leadership is as simple as it sounds. A leadership style changes on the situation. Quick summary. Every person, in everything you do, when you start doing something, you will go through 4 very basic phases of development. The day you start, you are unable to do it, and you are unwilling to do it. Scared. I don't want to do it. I don't know what to do. The next phase of development in anything you do, whether you're learning to ride a bike, drive a car, be a sales rep, whatever job you do, you will go through these stages. The next one you get is where you are still unable, but you are willing. You are not scared anymore. Then, as you've learned your craft, you get to a point where you're not able to do it. But once again, you are a scared little kid. I don't want to do it. What if I'm wrong? What if I make a mistake? And the last level where you get to is where you are both able and willing. I know what to do, I can do it. For each one of these stages, if you study the craft of situational leadership, you learn to identify where your follower is, what readiness level he is, and you apply the relevant leadership style. Someone who's unable and unwilling, first day on the job, needs a boss or a leader that tells them exactly what to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Repeat, repeat, repeat every single day. They don't make any decisions. By coming back to work, and every day there's a leader that tells them exactly what to do, slowly but surely they build up confidence. So they get to a point where they get willing. I want to do this. Still don't know how, so I want to. When the person is at a point where they want to do it, but they don't know how, then you stop telling them. Start giving multiple options. I have this situation. Okay. Choice 1, 2, 3, 4. Pros and cons of each one. Have a coaching discussion with the individual. Let the person come up with an answer from the options, and you guide to get to the correct answer. You let the person experience that I am making a decision under guidance from someone that knows. But I'm not being told what to do. Once they do it, you support. When somebody gets to the third stage, where he's able to do it, but unwilling, I know what to do, but I'm scared. That person comes to you and says, I have this problem, what do I do? Simple answer is, what do you think? What are your options? Explain them to me. The person will give you options. 1, 2, 3, the pros and cons of each one. Okay, based on these options, which one do you think is the right one? Person will say, this one. Why? Because he can do it. She can do it. Able to do it, but not willing. So through questioning, getting that person's input, you get to a point where they say, this is what to do. You say, you have my support. Then, when somebody reaches the 4th stage of being able and being willing, I know what to do, and I'm not scared to do it. You as a boss, you as a leader, step out the way. Don't micromanage. Don't get involved in the nitty-gritty details. You empower the person, you monitor them, and you hold them accountable. Now, this is a subject you can go study. You can study it at home. You can go practice it with your friends and family. It will serve you for the rest of your life. Think about mismatch. First day on the job. I don't know what to do, and I'm scared. And I have a style 4 leader who says, welcome to the job. You better get this done on time. You are in trouble if you don't do it. How do you feel? Tomorrow morning when your alarm clock goes off, you know, I hate myself. The same when you are a leader that's able and willing, and you have a micromanaging boss that tells you every single decision you make will be double checked and verified and confirmed by 50 other people until we are sure you are making the right decision, then we'll give you the approval. When you are able and willing to do it and someone manages you like that, you face levels of frustration like you cannot imagine. It boils over. You wake up in the morning angry. So, if you can master that basic skill, how to apply situational leadership, you will go very far in terms of developing teams, developing people, and standing out as a leader. They will remember you. People don't remember what you say. They remember how you made them feel. You made them feel bad, they will never forget it. Made them feel good. They will always talk about you in a good way. Now, being a leader for life, in essence then is someone who cares enough to serve for the betterment of those he leads. Creates more leaders, inspires people, creates an environment where whether people agree with you or don't agree with you, they will follow you because they believe your vision. Now, life. I know you guys are thinking life. Being a leader for life, only 3 things I want to mention about life. Firstly, your education, your learning doesn't stop when you leave your formal schooling. You will learn for the rest of your life. We're a living, breathing organism as a human race. Things change. Man, if I follow on social media, something that was good last week, this week is horrible. Things change. As a leader, you have to learn to adapt to your environment. Keep learning, keep studying, keep adapting. Broaden your horizons. Travel. Get out of Bangladesh. Go see the world. Come back. Bring your skills back home. Secondly, life is not linear. I remember as an 18-year-old thinking, study law, become a lawyer, become an advocate, become a judge in the South African court. Didn't work. Life happens. Life is a series of cycles, ups and downs. The difference between people who make a success and those who grow as leaders are the ones who know how to handle both sides. When you're at the upside, celebrate it. Be proud of it. But don't hurt those below you. Don't forget how you got there. Celebrate. When life takes you down, that's when you'll be happy because the ones who were below you before are now above you. You'll be glad you didn't treat them like droppings. These cycles also mean that nothing is permanent. If it's good right now, it's not going to stay good. If it's bad right now, it's also not going to stay bad. It will change. The amount of effort and drive and life you put into it is going to determine which way it's going to go and how long it's going to take. As part of cycles, you will also learn that failure is not fatal. You make mistakes. Screw up. They don't kill you. Unless it's something that kills you, like jumping off a building. Right? Point is, life will have ups and downs. Live with it, go with it. Don't expect an easy flow path. If you expect that path, you will live in frustration simply because I'm meant to be married by now with 2 children and have a career. Why did that not happen? Look at that one on Facebook. He's got everything. She's got everything. Me, I don't have it. On your own time, in your own cycle. Don't measure against someone else. This one is going to be fun. As a leader in life, you have to learn to be a duck. Quack, 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 quack. What's a duck in Ringo? What does it mean to be a duck? There's this guy in South Africa sitting next to a river fishing. Right? And another guy with a big 4x4 comes driving up. And he says to him, I want to cross the river. I'm looking for a shallow place. The guy fishing says, yeah, just here. 20 meters from me. Very shallow. You can drive through there. The guy in the pickup drives into the river. Whoops! Comes out screaming. What on earth did you tell me the river is shallow there? The guy says, I'm very surprised because a few minutes ago, a duck walked through there only halfway covered in water. So it can't be that deep. I mean, a duck's legs are this long. What's the point? Ducks have the ability on the surface to not show how deep the water is below. When you go under the water and you see this duck is just cruising through the water. You go underneath, you'll see his feet are going like this. That's what it means to be a duck. When the water get deep, when things get difficult, remain calm on the surface, but paddle like hell underground, where people don't see it. Now yesterday, my duck flipped over. I was paddling in the air. I lost the plot. Fortunately, in a good relationship with a team that I trust and trust me and understand that I'm human, they get it. So, do your best to remain a duck. Remain calm on the surface, although it's panic downstairs. Ashraf, our head of finance, is a good example of that. I've never seen his duck flip upside down. And it takes a lot of stress. So, in summary, being a leader is not about being the boss. It's not having a title. It's simply being you. Be authentic to you. Take to heart the things I told you. Use them, don't use them. But in the end, your life is yours. You are not a copy. You don't have to measure to someone else. And your brand of leadership will come from your experiences and how much effort you put in to becoming that leader for life. So, thank you for your time, and I wish you the best.